All right, here we are. Hey, good morning, my wrestling family. We're live again. Kind of on the boys' side, I kind of became this platform for Central Michigan early on, and now I'm kind of become this Grand View platform with we've got some Florida blood coaching up there, and she's been able to get me some amazing girls and boys on here, and we have another hammer. She's the 116 hammer, ranked top 25 in the NAIA. She was a two-time Iowa State placer at Kingsley Pearson High School, and there's a great story about that. The top three are all wrestling, and she'll tell us about that at Grandview. And she was an All-American, and she's here with us today. Shae
Mickey.
Shae Mickey. Folks, when you see it spelled, you're going to make the same mistake I made, but that's cool. I love the red hair. Is that for the Grandview colors?
I've been dyeing it red since I started wrestling. It's really easy for everyone to find me on the mat, so. But
Nice.
It goes well with the colors, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, it's an absolute honor to have you on, another amazing Grandview athlete, and it just seems like they do really big things with their kids there as far as there and have moved on. I've talked to head coaches nationally that came through your program, so good for you, man. So I know the COVID hasn't really stopped you from practicing because you had knee surgery, right? So obviously the effects of COVID, we all know what it's done, but you were kind of going to be laid up anyway, right?
Yep.
So when you're rehabbing the knee, just a lot of tape right now, a lot of watching your opponents, things like that?
Yep. A lot of just like reviewing just all my matches that I had this year. I didn't have very many since I got hurt right away, but just going back over that, seeing all the mistakes I made so that when I come back, I can come back 10 times stronger.
Awesome. And how excited are you to get back healthy and get back on the mat?
I'm super excited. It's been way too long. I'm
good for you.
Itching for that.
That's awesome, man. So I know you're from Iowa originally, so that's awesome. So you're home. Talk a little bit about what made you choose Grandview.
So I was originally signed to go somewhere else when Grandview came out that they were going to do women's wrestling. And I was like, dang, it's so close to home because I'm a big homebody. I love being around my family. And so a lot of me was just really debating, like, I want to be closer. And the other place was 12 hours from home. And I met Coach Kinsey at a national tournament for AAU. And he talked to me, and just every word that came out of his mouth just really drove me. And I would literally, if you told me that if I ran through a brick wall, it would make me a better wrestler, I probably would have done that. Like, I just ate up everything that he said. And then I went to campus and had my first tour, and everyone on campus is so nice. And it's just a different vibe there. Like, you can tell that everyone knows each other, and it's really just a happy environment. And then you get into the wrestling room and everyone's pushing each other to be just like 10 times better. And I really bought into that whole championship lifestyle thing, because I mean, if you look at what the boys have done and then the girls are doing like the same stuff, it's going to be a championship program. So I just ate that whole thing up, and I've been happy ever since.
Man, that's awesome. So good for you. Yeah. I had read some stuff that you were looking elsewhere and possibly signed elsewhere, but then, well, you obviously didn't go there because I'm talking to you and you're at Grandview. So pretty cool. So talk about the Grandview coaching staff and the culture there, and just, I know the girls program is going into their second or third year, so they're a little bit newer, but you guys have already done big things. And the boys program there has a lot of storied history. I mean, what makes wrestling so great there? What's the culture? And talk about your coaching staff and what they mean to all the girls.
Well, the big thing with the wrestling program at Grandview is that championship lifestyle. And you really have to buy into that. And those coaches really push you to believe that, like, if you're living that championship lifestyle, you're eventually going to be a champion, not only on the mat, but in life. And so when you step in the room, it's just a whole other atmosphere. Everyone is pushing themselves past their breaking point every practice and working 10 times harder than what you would expect. It's just a whole new level, and the coaches are amazing. you have any questions and they're right there to help you. Even if it's just like this little thing that you're doing wrong, they're fixing it, and it's just great. I really love Coach Kinsey. He is super good about helping me with all my stuff. I had a lot of stuff to work on when I came in last summer, and by the end of the summer, from the start, I was a whole new wrestler. My stance was better. I was taking all these shots I never did, and I just became a way stronger technical wrestler by working with him for like just one summer. And Coach Bias was actually my practice partner for a long time because I didn't have anyone at my weight. And so getting to wrestle right next to her was really fun because she definitely pushed me way further than I thought I could ever go and made me try a lot harder. And if I was making a mistake and I took a shot wrong, she definitely made sure that I did not score off that shot. And I did it again and again until I got that perfect.
Oh, that's awesome. And she can definitely talk to kind of what you and Emma went through going through the youth in Iowa, where Florida, when she was going through, she was like the only girl in the room.
Mm-hmm.
She had to go through boys. She got to the boys states and qualified. And so she can definitely relate to what you guys had. Another awesome thing we were talking about is what wrestling has done for you and meant for you. Not just, you're in college wrestling, so that's awesome. So you get an education, but you've done some pretty cool traveling and gotten to compete in some neat places. Tell us about it.
Definitely my favorite place that I ever wrestled I was on Team Iowa for the last 2 years that I wrestled. And we go to Disney Duels, and that's like the best place to wrestle. I actually met Coach Bias there, and it's a whole new, you get to wrestle like the Florida girls and the Texas girls and all these girls that have been wrestling girls forever. So you kind of get that feel of, what it's like to actually wrestle girls, like that you would wrestle in college. And just like I've gone to like a couple different states and everything, and it's just so cool to get to travel the world and do what you love at the same time. That's my favorite part of wrestling, is seeing everything that you get to meet all these new people from all different kinds of states, and it's just different
Disney
wrestling.
was your
everywhere.
favorite?
What?
Disney is cool. I got to experience it last year with my son for the first time. And
Yeah.
I think I tell people the best thing about it is the back room. You just get, when you're not wrestling in the back room, you get so many matches. Just line up and match your weight, and just so many exhibition opportunities. He probably, got 30 exhibition matches back there, which is like 3 seasons,
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of competition at that one too. It was really fun.
well, that's awesome. So now I know that you spent a lot of time at Western Iowa Wrestling Academy. That was your wrestling club. And so tell us about your time there. Tell us about growing up in Iowa as a youth wrestler, and just tell us about Iowa wrestling.
I was definitely known for wrestling, so it's a whole different ball game here. But when I started wrestling, I was the only girl on my side of the state that wrestled, so I didn't even know other girls wrestled. And it was really different for me. But I found a club. I really got determined that I wanted to be a really good wrestler, and I needed to work 10 times harder than the people who have been wrestling since they were like 5 years old. And so, because I started my sophomore year. And so I found this new club, Iowa Western Wrestling Academy, that opened up, and I started training there. And their coach there was Jordan Bremer. He wrestled for Minnesota University, and he just took me in, and I just fed off of him. We trained all the time. I would stay late after practice, and he would stay with me and just work on my stance and all this little stuff that I was like getting wrong. He actually coached my first ever girl match that I got to wrestle at Conflict at Carver. And I was his first win for the academy, since I was his first like match that he brought somewhere. And so it was like super cool for him because I was the first girl he's ever coached, and I loved it there. Yeah. All the people in the room were really good about treating me the same as everyone else, and they really pushed me to be better. And we had some really good hammers in that room. So it definitely made me a way better wrestler.
That's awesome. Now, I know that there's a big fight going on right now about sanctioning Iowa girls. Uh, Tell us about that and why it's important for that in your state.
Well, I feel like if we did sanction it, more girls would go out for wrestling because a lot of girls are scared to do it because they have to wrestle the boys. And so that definitely puts a big stop on a lot of girls going out. There would be definitely higher numbers if they could just wrestle the girls. But wrestling the boys versus the girls is completely different. Boys, they are way bigger upper body strength and just have a lot more muscle there. And girls, their hips are just a lot more flexible. So from transitioning to wrestling boys all through high school to wrestling girls, it's a completely different style. And you kind of have to switch up the way that you wrestle. I definitely did because my wrestling style was not the same as it is now. But I feel like if it did get sanctioned, it would help a lot more girls in their transition towards going to college and realizing that there is more to the sport than just wrestling boys in high school.
That's awesome. So, excuse me, Coach Alfred Sands just asked, what advice would you give a young girl who might want to get involved in the sport?
So I've been giving this advice to all of these girls. There's a bunch of them at Lamar's that were really scared to do it, but they ended up having like 12 at the end of the year. But I tell them all the same thing. No matter what, just like try it. It makes you so much stronger as a person, and it makes your mental strength like crazy good. And it's just going to help you through life. And there's nothing wrong with going out and trying it. If you don't like it after you try it, you don't have to do it. But I always say you're always going to regret it if you don't try it. So I definitely recommend just going out and trying it. You might fall in love with it.
And that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
So excuse me. So you told me a really cool story before we came on. There were 3 girls in the same bracket at the state tournament, and you were all going different places in college, and you ended up competing in the same bracket. Ended up 1, 2, and 3. Tell us the story, and then obviously where you did end up.
So it was Emma Cochran and then Chloe Krebish and me. And we all had competed a lot throughout the years, especially me and Chloe. Me and Chloe were always back and forth with each other at different events. But we were at AAU State, and it was our last tournament that we were all going to wrestle at the same place together. And it was kind of bittersweet because we've been wrestling each other forever, and we're all signed to go different places. Emma was going to go to Grandview. Chloe was going to run track somewhere, and I was going to wrestle 12 hours away. And so we ended up all wrestling, and Emma got first. Chloe was at second, and I ended up in third. And at the end, we all took this big picture, and we were like, at the end, we all give each other hugs, and like it was like super sad because we all hugged each other after the matches too. Like there's a cute picture of me and Chloe after our match, like just like gripping each other, bear hugging because we couldn't believe like it was over. And then so it was like super sad. But yeah, and then I think it was like a month or 2 later, everyone had switched back to going to Grandview, and we were just like super excited. That actually popped up on one of our memories the other day, and we shared it in the group chat, and everyone was like, how crazy is that? Like we all thought we were gonna be separated from each other, and now we're like sisters.
That's awesome. That's a cool story, and and I'm sure you guys will do big things there, and you are already, so that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's awesome. Well, I've got my 10 questions. I'm sure you've heard about them. And are you ready?
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, bebops or zombie? This has been the big talk of your Grandview team.
Oh dang. I definitely would go with Zombie Burger, but I do eat a lot of bebops on the off season. I'm not gonna lie.
Somebody said one of them has a better milkshake.
Yeah, that's Zombie Burger.
All right, there we go. All right, thin crust or deep dish?
Thin crust.
The Asian Gardens or Botanical Gardens?
Botanical Gardens.
Sorry, it's terrible. My wife gets mad when I do that. But Birdland Park or Union Park?
Oh, probably Birdland Park.
All right. Scotcheroos or Dutch letters?
Scotcheroos.
Ooh, Emma went Dutch letters. I didn't ask that question to Marlene because she's from Texas. Tenderloin or Iowa chops?
Iowa chops.
Ooh. The Blank Park Zoo or History Farms?
Blank Park Zoo.
The Art Center or the Science Center?
Oh, Art Center.
Adventureland or the Heritage Carousel?
Adventureland.
For
Yep.
sure. All right, my last one. Two famous things, I guess, for Iowa: the Made Right or Sloppy Joe's?
Made right. Yep.
Yeah. You're like, hell yeah. Love that place. Cool. Well, man, I wish you all the best of luck this year. Uh, I hope I get an opportunity to see you guys wrestle and root for you. And you guys definitely have a fan here. So good luck with everything. And I'll have to go watch some of your matches on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. It's a pleasure. And get out of the middle of the street there. See you. You have a good day.
You too.